ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Retro Reminisce. My name is Killjoy, and I am joined by two of the TARDIS men I have ever been joined by before.
Was it TARDIS men?
TARDIS men as well. On my right, Mr. Freesammer. How you doing?
Hello, I am alive.
He is
Well,
alive.
just about.
Just.
We tested this beforehand.
Just. And to my other right, Mr. Mark Kitchen. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Sorry, I leant forward for that.
That's so fine.
I'm just
Sounds
excited.
like
Excited.
Try to get a
excited.
Doppler effect.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
As you can tell, we're all full of energy in here today. Retro Reminisce, as always, is us talking about older games generally and like when we played them, what we like, what we don't like, and if they still hold up in our opinion. Today we are looking at the grandfather of all console shooters, GoldenEye 64.
Yeah, boy.
This is like, well, I'm sure Mark will tell you this is one of his favourite games of all time. Not so much fruities, but we'll get onto this. So let's kick it off then. Mr. Fruity, when was the first time you played this game?
I'm trying to work this out. Like, I remember being in year 6 at school and someone brought their N64 in. I remember playing it and like this like Winter Olympics game at the same time.
Nice.
But like, I never really grew up with anyone that had an N64. So I guess that's like 1999? 1910?
1910.
Ty, this is already come through 2000.
Yeah.
Can't remember when I left primary school now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's like 99. So I remember playing a little bit, but that's pretty much all, except for maybe a couple of times at someone's house.
Yeah.
Like, not a huge amount.
Yeah.
Like, I've obviously seen gameplay and stuff, like speedruns and like, it's a popular, iconic game. Like, I've seen stuff, the actual playing is
sure.
pretty much limited to like 2 or 3 hours probably.
Yeah. With the exception of tonight, but
Oh yeah, pretty more than I've played before.
Sure thing. Mr. Mark, you've played this game quite a lot, haven't you? But what was the first time you played it?
About 20 years ago. 21 years.
Damn, you're old.
We must have got it like as it came out. I don't remember like. I remember it coming out, but I don't remember us getting it like on the day or anything. But we must have got it like shortly afterwards. And there was a lot of hype about it. Like all my brother's friends had it, so that's the reason we got it. And like I knew my mates had got it, and it was all that kind of hearsay of like, you've got to get GoldenEye, it's like a shooter game. And one of the main things I remember is just going on the menu and having just damn.
Yeah.
And like all the other ones are just blanked out, and it's just the only level you could select. And just going through all the like menus for the first time with all the like the portfolio, like the
passport
things, and it seems like quite gimmicky now, but back then it was like really cool. It was like, oh yeah, you get all the kind of briefing from like Q and M and stuff, and all the like little OHMSS kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I was like this little kid. I was like, oh, I'm an agent,
spy.
Press and just like going into the first level, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And the amount of hours that I've put into multiplayer in this game with my kids, like split screen multiplayer,
with
like,
kids.
With kids.
With kids.
As kids. It was with kids because we were all kids.
Them kids, bruh.
As kids, like. Yeah, just a ridiculous amount of hours into this.
Yeah.
Just the most legendary split-screen multiplayer game, really, like shooter. So yeah, played all the levels, all the modes, all the gun variants, so much over and over again. Having such a laugh with it, like 4-player, like so much fun. And yeah, I just loved it. It's a huge part of my childhood. It's one of the games I've played the most of. I know the game inside out.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
love
he
it.
does.
True.
He does.
I could do some of the levels without like even thinking about them. Like just complete muscle memory, really.
You mean doing the levels on the easiest difficulty setting and then doing the objectives that aren't even on the easiest difficulty setting?
Being like, oh, I'm doing this, but I don't need to.
Yeah. Nice.
What about you?
My first memory of this game was in secondary school. We actually had an N64 that the school provided, and I remember going in this thing at lunchtime because it was raining, and I think they had like Mario Kart and they had this and something else. And I think I remember watching someone play it, and I might have played it, but my actual memories of playing the game was a bit later on when my friend lent me his N64. He'd lent me Ocarina of Time, and then my brother had brought home from a different friend Smash Brothers 64 and GoldenEye, and we so some good quality games. And I remember playing it then, primarily for the multiplayer with my brother, because the single player is, at the time, it was just too hard for me to get my head around. Like, it was alright, but some of the levels are a little bit too maze-like. Later on in life, I managed to actually play it properly. But yeah, I remember playing it with my brother and like really getting into it. And we played a lot of multiplayer stuff, so anything that was like 1v1 or just obviously having that and Smash, some of the best multiplayer experiences of the time. On a console which had 4 ports, so even if we had someone else around, we could play but I do remember playing quite a lot of it, and then quite a lot of time passed before I played it after that, but that is my earliest memories of playing GoldenEye. And yeah, it was an absolute blast. I don't think we ever completed the game single player. I don't think we ever unlocked everything. But we played a hell of a lot on Temple. That was like the one level that because it was just like
Temple is the best multiplayer level.
It's just like Temple got secret like doors, everything. Great.
The stone doors that go up and down. And there's one bit where there's just one of those in the middle, and there's like 4 different directions.
Yeah,
come out
it comes
from.
up like the ramp down and all sort of stuff. So yeah, that's my earliest memories of it. So yeah, it was a fun time. Definitely a good time in my life playing a lot of multiplayer games. But I definitely remember us playing that, and that stuck out as something that was like, okay, this is a really good split screen experience of its time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to things that we like about the game then. So we're gonna start with you again, Mr. Fruity, because I feel like you may have a slightly shorter list, but anything you liked about this game?
It's an interesting question. I like the music. And like the sound design is definitely strong.
It's very impressive for its time, actually.
Yeah,
the music's really good.
The way they actually have several like sounds like layered up as well.
Yes.
Like enemy voice, like gun sound, like alarm or background sound, and door all pretty much going at the same time. Or at least there's like a couple at once. That's quite impressive. I quite like the cutscenes. I like what Mark was saying with like the beginning of levels and stuff. Like I like the UI design of like the menus.
Oh, the dossiers and stuff you get, yeah.
Yeah, like having like the gadgets and stuff. I mean, it's very much what you'd expect from like a James Bond video game. And they definitely captured like the style of like a James Bond film.
Yeah.
They kind of like brought in the spy aspects. It's not just like running and gunning. There are like other things and objectives to do. It's pretty cool. Multiplayer, what it is.
Yeah. It's always dated.
Yeah.
Just a smidgen.
I feel like I'm going into this game with like too modern like influences.
Yeah.
Like not so much about like the actual limitations. This kind of like split screen shooter, I guess you'd call it.
Yes.
It's like this is very much like the early days, and like you can see how like they haven't fully like got the mechanics down.
Yeah. But it's with the limitation of that controller
Yeah.
only as one analog stick.
So it's like I like the overall like design of the game. Like, the sound is very impressive. The graphics are pretty good for the time as well.
Yes.
Like the faces and stuff. People actually have like
An actual
a face.
Yeah.
Like
And their body animations as
Impressive.
well, when they're like they kneel down
Oh,
to
yeah.
take a shot at you,
Yeah.
and the way they die and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's very over the
Yeah.
top, but it works really well.
Yeah.
yeah, it adds like a cartoon element, which is pretty good when you're selling this to like maybe children.
Yeah.
It's kind of much more cartoony, and there is a wider range of like animation, which is quite impressive.
Yeah. I do like the way that sometimes they die, they sort of fly backwards and spin around. It's
Yeah,
pretty
like you
loud.
shoot them in the shoulder and they spin from like the force of like the shot.
Yeah, that, ugh.
If you ever kill them from an explosion, they
Fly.
go airborne, they like
Yeah.
fly across the screen, which is
Yeah.
quite cool.
It's really similar. You shot them in the hand or something, and they like grab their hand and
Oh,
stuff.
like,
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Shake
it's
their
almost like
hand out.
stuns them, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
It's
keep
pretty
shooting them.
cool. Yeah, I think that's
That you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Mark, what do you like about this game? Because I got a feeling you're going to got a lot to say on this.
Lots of
Yeah.
things.
The whole thing.
Everything.
It's all perfect.
Well, I'll start with sound and music because that one's
Mm.
quite easy, and we've already kind of touched on it. Yeah, I think the sound effects are really good. Like Dave was saying, you could have like multiple things going on at once, so you could have like, which is quite sounds simple now, but back then it's quite.
Yeah, you
Quite
compare
cool.
it to.
You have
compare it
like
to
an
other
alarm
things.
going off while you're like, I don't know, you can hear like gunshots and yeah, and
Sound of
like
getting
the
shot.
sound of getting shot and all that kind of thing. It makes it feel a bit more engrossing. Obviously,
Yeah.
this isn't an engrossing game for a modern gamer, but when I played this as a 8 or 9 year old kid, I was like, whoa! Like, you know, they weren't really such developed first-person shooters at this stage.
No.
Before that, I played Doom. This is a bit more kind of more
a little bit more advanced,
encapsulating than
Actual
Doom.
3D.
Yeah.
3D game. Yeah. And the music, I just love the music in this game. I think the bass sounds really good. Like the bass sound is really like like really deep and like really like full bass sound. And just some of the kind of drums. They're quite obviously programmed drums, but they sound cool. Like they know they're programmed.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do with it, but yeah, you're right. It does have like it's got the urgency. That's the thing about the music. For the most part, a lot of those levels have that urgency in the music. You've got the James Bond theme playing through the music
Quite
as well.
a nice remix as well. Like, it all fits with the James Bond theme as well.
Yeah,
you get some music which is mostly
works.
not Bond, but then they work the theme in there
into it.
somewhere.
Yeah.
except for Jungle, which is by far one of the weirdest levels because there's only 2 points where music plays in that level.
But that's because you're like that's really cool though, because you're like in the jungle and you're trying to sneak around, and all you can hear is like
Birds,
squawking birds, and it's kind of cool. And then the music comes on when Xenia runs across the bridge. Yeah, so I like a lot of the music, and it's like all the levels have different music, and there aren't really many levels where I don't like the music.
Yeah.
I could tell you what level, if you played me some music, I could instantly tell you what level it was from. One of the things I always mention when I talk about this game that I like about this game is the variety of levels. So you could be in a train on one level, the next time you're on like one level you're on like a frigate ship. There's one where you're on the streets in a tank. Snowy levels. There's one where you're on a dam and you jump off the dam. The jungle, obviously, we just mentioned. Like, there's a real broad range of levels.
Yeah, different environments, keeps it fresh.
I know that I don't really play that many modern first-person shooters, but if you're playing like Call of Duty or whatever, like all of the environments are pretty much the same. Yeah, they all look the same. So it's just like refreshing to go. For anyone, if there was going to be anything that was refreshing about this game, is going back and actually being like, oh look, now I'm on a ship and now I'm on a tank, and I don't know, I just think it's cool. So broad range of obviously different colours and scenery and things, which is really cool.
Tries to follow the film as closely as possible, doesn't it? A lot of those levels.
I think the difficulty curve on it is pretty good. Gradually get more enemies, I suppose, and the objectives get a bit tougher as well.
Yes.
Some of them, like the objectives, take a bit more figuring out, whereas some of the objectives, like on the earlier levels, are kind of you just come across them.
Or you just run off and just run in one direction.
Later on, it's kind of like, oh, you really have to figure out what you're doing. And it works well with the different difficulty modes as well. Like they just add a couple more in for the next difficulty, and then the highest difficulty they add the full like
so
amount of
one
objectives.
objective, then maybe you have two, then maybe you have three, and then then they get, like I said, more difficult as you ramp up the difficulty. So
some of the animation's good. I really like all the weapons in this game.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't see that many of them tonight, but there is a real broad range.
Laser, like grenade launcher,
proximity mines, time mines, remote mines. You've got loads of different machine guns and shotguns
pistols,
and
sniper rifles, and you can dual wield pretty much all of them. If
you can get doubles of everything. Knives. If you get all guns, all guns cheat. You can get double of absolutely everything. You get the lasers of infinite ammo, which is really cool.
You also, for some
reason,
you
get two different types of knives. You get the throwing knives and the hunting knife, which you just stab people with.
Jab them. But you also get the tank gun when you put the
you get
weirdly
the tank
enough,
gun,
you get the
so
tank
you can run
gun.
around as a human, but like firing tanks
tank
out of your
shells.
forehead.
Which, do you know what? It's actually really cool. It's really cool that they put that in there.
Yeah. So I like that. I really like the cheats in this game as well.
That speedrunning element, where you have to complete the level as quick as possible
to get the cheat.
Very old school, that.
It's so for its time. There's such a wide range of cheats. Like
paintball,
DK mode is the easiest one to unlock because you have to do runway and agent in under 5 minutes, and you can do it in like under 30 seconds. And that gives you DK mode, which is just like tiny people with massive heads. Paintball mode is a classic. You get all guns, invincible, invisible. There's fast animation, which is really cool. You play like all the first one-player modes, but with like all the enemies like legging it around ridiculously.
Slow mo as well.
And slow mo animation as well, as people like running around.
Like on moon grab or something.
Really slowly like walking around. and then even when they like die,
They die in slow mo and stuff. Yeah,
I just thought that was really advanced for its time, like a game having that
that's
20 odd years ago.
rare though in a nutshell. Like a lot of those guys kind of. A lot of games, if you look at Time Splitters, which was made by Free Radical, which is a bunch of ex-Rare stuff, similar cheats in the game, similar way of doing it, and they give you a bunch of unlockables, and they're all really ridiculous because they sort of set that trend of back then in those days of like, here's do this, this, and this, like these achievements, if you like, there were actually achievements back in the day, in game that would give you stuff, and like, they probably weren't the first game to do it, but they kind of set that trend of a lot of first-person shooters. You know, Time Splitters 2, Time Splitters 3 especially have similar sort of mechanics where it's like, do this challenge to unlock this cheat. So,
I just added a new element of challenge to it rather than obviously like doing the levels on the difficulty settings, but then going back and trying to do time it and stuff. And I've unlocked all the cheats manually, as in done.
I haven't. I cheated.
Some of them are ridiculously hard.
Cheat.
Some of them are ridiculously hard, but
stupidly hard.
with my favourite games or the games that I've played the most, I've generally 100%.
You want it, don't you? You want to put it down, you want to keep playing it.
I just love the running and gunning in this game. It's just so
easy.
It can be so mindless. Like when I was playing Train earlier with the RCP-90, where you can just shoot through everything.
Yeah.
You're just running down train carriages, just gunning, like you can shoot through their bodies and like it doesn't stop. So if there's like 6 people in a line, you can just kill them all like in one line. So, and that factors into what I was saying about all the guns. It's like certain guns that can shoot through like crates and stuff. It's like pretty cool. And I just think all these kind of things are quite advanced for the time. I suppose wasn't really that many console first-person shooters around at the time.
Not that set this sort of split-screen trend as well as GoldenEye did. I mean, everyone knows this game because of the multiplayer. That's even though the single player is what it is, people will talk about the multiplayer of it, and that's kind of what's set. You know, later down the line with things like Halo on the Xbox and other games that have come since then. Where you know you look back and Time Splitters, everything like that.
As well as the endless fun I had playing multiplayer, like normal mode, I
Yeah.
also just played like the hold the briefcase mode and like all the different modes basically.
Yeah.
And I'd never played a mode like games with modes like that before. I don't even know when they first came in. Really, I mean, did they have that before GoldenEye?
I mean, Unreal Tournament and Quake 3 probably,
Yeah.
but I can't remember if they came out at the same time or beforehand. Well, Unreal Tournament came out in '99, so when did GoldenEye come out?
97.
'97. So
Yeah.
maybe Quake 1 and Quake 2 might have had these things in. I don't know. There would have been PC games that more than likely had Capture the Flag and Domination and stuff like that in it. But for a console, maybe not. But then again, I don't know when like did Turok have a multiplayer on the N64?
Yeah, Turok.
So there might have been stuff in there as well. I don't know what the order of these games came out, but I imagine this is the one that people say this is where this stuff comes from, or at least made this stuff popular.
Yeah, so many millions of people played this multiplayer like in their bedrooms, like split screen
Dinky little TV
player on like a tiny TV.
15-inch,
Put so many hours into having like so much fun on multiplayer on this. I don't really enjoy the multiplayer half as much now because it's quite dated. Like, I have fun with it, but like not as much as back then because back then it was the only thing and it was like the biggest thing. It was whoa, like there was nothing.
And plus,
there was nothing to compare it to. It was just the game everyone was playing.
Plus, also Golden Gun was always a laugh.
Yeah, that's a good
full player Golden Gun. Is great.
Yeah, one shot kill. Yeah,
I love Golden Gun.
Some cool characters. There's so many characters you can unlock in this.
Yeah,
like,
you just play as different ones.
Quite a big roster, like 60 odd, I think.
Yeah. I think you can unlock more, can't you, by cheating?
Yeah.
You can
play all like the main ones, and then but then you can play all like these different Soviet people and these military people, and they all have different like
skins and stuff. Yeah.
Like costumes and faces and stuff, and there's probably like 60 odd characters you can play as, which is quite impressive for.
Yeah, I mean most of them are just reskinned. I mean apart from Oddjob, who is like you just ban Oddjob because nobody ever plays Oddjob.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying. It's like when you look at games by these people later on, like you look at Time Splitters, it's like Time Splitters has a lot of characters in it, but they've been doing this stuff back in GoldenEye. A lot of that's, and even with Perfect Dark, the game afterwards, a lot of this stuff was set by these guys in terms of you now see a lot of this stuff.
I don't think it's possible for anyone to truly appreciate this game unless they were there at the time, kind of thing. Because I showed this to my friend when I was like a teenager. I was 17, 18. By that time, loads of other games had come out, and he was like, and like Call of Duty was really popular, getting
Yeah.
popular at this time.
The
And he was
post-Halo
like-
world.
Yeah,
Normally
yeah,
the
and
next one everyone.
he was
Yes.
like, "Why does everyone bang on about this? It's just shit." And I was like,
You don't understand.
"Yeah, like
when they're
don't
looking
understand.
friends.
so revolutionary."
It's
back
like,
then,
get out of
like-
my house.
Yeah,
This is my house.
you don't understand, man.
Yeah,
you
you
weren't
don't
there.
understand.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I've touched on quite
Yeah.
a bit there. I mean, I think like I do think it's quite good graphically as well. Like I do think the graphics are really good. But yeah, I think I've touched on a fair amount there.
Yeah. Oh, I just lost my list. Hang on.
Go, go.
Pretty much. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I like, you've kind of already covered. I mean, as somebody who is a massive fan of music, this game has really, really good music. Like we've already said, combining the James Bond classic theme into and these little motifs and leitmotifs into the rest of the tracks, it sounds very, very good, and I very much appreciate that. Audio design, yeah, I was very surprised tonight while watching, listening, and going, actually, the sound quality on this is way better than I ever remembered it being. So those side of things are good. Like you were saying, level variety and sort of, if you're playing on easy, there are some levels that are quite linear. You run in a straight line and you just kind of gun people down. And on the harder difficulties, they change it up by adding more objectives in.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that if you're playing on easy, you can kind of play the game, for the most part, on most of those levels, quite gun, run, all that kind of sort of stuff. Even though levels like Frigate, for example, which are a bit more open, and then you actually have to move around the ship and get like hostages and stuff. So I do like the fact that there are a couple of levels in there that aren't quite just run forward and shoot.
Yeah.
And then it changes it up on the higher
It's a good
difficulty
balance.
levels.
Like at one
Yeah.
point you'll be playing like Surface, which is really kind of open, and then like a level or two later you'll be playing Silo, which is just
Corridors.
straight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, the same with the objectives. The idea that, like, you know, not all the objectives are quite varied. Like, it's not just point A, point B. I mean, overall, every level is point A to point B. But then the other objectives add, like, take a picture of the map on the screen, or decode the GoldenEye key, or whatever it was.
Plant the tracker bug on the helicopter.
Which I accidentally threw in the water.
Oh no, Levi, you've thrown it in the ocean.
Yeah, you get one of those.
But it's alright, I tracked the ocean, guys. It's we're totally fine. You know,
That the ocean's nearby.
but luckily, like, you know, I don't really play this game on harder difficulties, but I like the fact that there is that extra challenge. It's not just the enemies are harder to kill, or it's not just you die quicker. It's like you now have other objectives that you need to fulfill to
Figure out.
complete the level.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it just kicks you out again if you fail it. And lastly, the other thing I was going to go on is multiplayer is a weird one. Like, I do like the multiplayer in this game. I think it's fun, but it's if I appreciate it for what it is, and I appreciate it for the time it was. But playing it, like, there are other games that I could be playing that actually are more fun. Like, I think that's just straight up that they are more fun to play. So it's not it's not me bashing on the multiplayer, because for its time, when I played this, it was a lot of fun. There are a lot of weapons, there's good variety of levels. The biggest problem is, I think this game, 1v1 is not terrible, but because some of those levels are quite open and quite, like, big, a lot of the levels look very bland in the multiplayer. Then they're very like, here's a big square with a gun in it, and there's like, go for a corridor, and here's like another square with a gun in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's fun to be had there, but I think that it's got to a point now where there are much better games for multiplayer. If you want to do, like, 4-player, I could see this being a right blast.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah.
Even if the game does drop in frame rate massively, it'd be quite funny. But, like, if I was going to play like a 1v1 first-person shooter, this would not be my first pick. So the multiplayer is a weird one for me. Like, I do appreciate it, and I'm like, there's fun to be had there, but I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
Did you know that they nearly didn't make multiplayer? It was like a last-minute kind of.
Yeah.
They just threw it in at the end to just like, they made this whole one-player
Yeah.
thing that was like really cool, and they were just like, oh, let's just put in a multiplayer mode. So some of the levels maybe felt a bit like bland and stuff, but like it became like a massive multiplayer hit, and it was kind of a throwaway idea, and then that's the reason like millions of people played it.
We haven't mentioned this yet, and I mean everyone knows this anyway, but like, bear in mind, this is a game that's based on a film. You know, in a time where a lot of games based on films were terrible. There are some good ones, but most video games that have come out that have been based on films are usually pretty rubbish. They're just tie-ins.
Cash grabs.
Yeah, whereas this game is genuinely good.
Revolutionary.
Yeah, genuinely good. Like,
some people don't even completely like sort of forget about the film. Like, you say GoldenEye, and they'll like,
they're
they're like,
oh,
that was a film a couple of years before. Like,
And it's funny to.
Whereas if you say the world is not enough, generally people think about the film before the game. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like I think it's testament to this game, even though it is dated. Like it's without a doubt, this game is very dated. But the fact that this game changed that trend in a lot of ways, like this is a licensed video game based on a film, but it's actually good.
Yeah.
It's not just some shovelware. It's not just being put out there to be like, oh, here's a cash grab. It's like, here's a genuinely good game with some time and effort put into it.
It's
and
not a game that's just gonna get forgotten about. It's a revolutionary game that's just like...
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really important to notice to mention that, because there are other games that are based on films that are good, like and I can't think any off the top of my head, but I have probably played some. But then this is probably the most famous one, I would say. Maybe there's something else I'm blanking on. But okay, there are it's like Alien Trilogy on the PlayStation, which is meant to be quite good.
Thinking of the Lego film. Like The Hobbit and Star
Wars. But they're kind of...
They're like Lego games.
They follow the same formula, but I know what you mean.
It's like Batman games, but they're not like...
They're not based on the films, though, are they? I can't... I mean, actually, Spider-Man 2 is meant to be really good, isn't it?
Spider-Man 2 is very good.
Yeah, and that was based on the film. But
yeah, that's true.
These are few and far between games. We're not talking like every film that comes out that has a game is great. And this is why GoldenEye it will always hold up in a lot of ways, just in terms of it being a very successful game based on a film.
Especially in like the 90s.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Think of more things from like the noughties and like more recent.
Yeah. Alright then, I think that covers the things I like about the game, so let's go back round. Let's talk about things we don't like about this game, and we'll start again with Mr. Free. I feel like this is a good one to chuck to you.
I feel like everyone's assuming I'm gonna rag on this game.
Just rag on the
entirely.
game.
I still find the controls really weird. Like the whole the splits of like moving your body and moving the camera between two to the C-pad
and the C buttons and the analog stick.
Yeah, that's it. So just like I find that so confusing. And like thank God for like the auto aim.
You need it in this game.
Yeah, it's just like I just find it so confusing. Like even after playing it for a while, I'm still just like I'm just walking into a wall. I'm just like turning into a wall.
I can totally see how people would feel that way, like playing that now, but because it's so embedded into my muscle memory, like I still find playing with the analog stick and the C buttons like so natural and so much easier than dual analog, and I find it really easy to like aim and stuff in this game.
It's
just because I played it back then, I just makes it really easy for me. I can totally see how anyone who played that now would just be like, what?
Yeah, it's a difference between like watching me and then watching Mark play. It's just like so much more fluid to like the movement and shooting.
Yeah.
Rather than he's just like slowly trying to turn trying to get to turn around so I can like shoot the person that's like shooting me behind. But yeah, like other than the controls, the only other thing I can really think is just like it doesn't run very well.
It's definitely not running. I mean,
the frame rate was worse than I remember it being. But I think it's because I'm now used to seeing such clean frame rates.
It's frame rate, but also like it literally just lags. Like it's like something's about to explode, or like there's too many things popping in at once. Like it will literally just stop and you can't do any input. And it's really annoying to like, am I dead? What's going on? Is there a cutscene beginning? Like, oh no, like it's literally just froze, and then you have to like wait for it to move again, or like carry on changing weapon or something. Like it's really quite annoying.
It's got a weird draw distance in this game. Like the draw distance is massively affected. Like if you look off something and you're looking miles away, you can definitely notice the frame rate drop. Especially on Dam, if you look out into the distance and you see like the water or whatever, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very technically it's really weird. It's like a really strange game. But then I think we forget sometimes that a lot of N64 games and a lot of PlayStation 1 games probably don't run as well as we remember.
It's because they're massively trying to like just get it to work in the first place.
Yeah, with the very limited tech.
I definitely feel like we appreciated them more 20 years ago because we hadn't seen what better frame rates were, and we thought they looked good because before that we were used to like...
That's not true though, because if you take Super Mario Bros. 1 on the NES, that runs at 60 frames a second. I know it's a 2D game, But a lot of
I was
games
about to say we're talking about the early stages.
yeah,
of
early
3D.
stages of 3D, and it was very polygonal.
Exactly.
and it was,
Yeah.
and
It's like
But also because like most of the stuff beforehand on like the Mega Drive or like the SNES and stuff like that, because it was all like 2D, you didn't have to really worry about like processing information.
sure, yeah.
Whereas when you start getting
Sure.
polygons and stuff and draw distance, like and like ray casting and stuff,
Z
it's like
axis.
there's so much more processing to do that. And like the PS1, it's weird because like the PS1 and the N64 are very like the in-between consoles. It's like a lot of the time you think like, oh yeah, this one's well, or like, oh yeah, this one's good. It's like actually dual analog sticks was on PS1 until like much later in its lifespan.
Yeah.
And like a lot of things you think about are actually like from PS2 and like GameCube.
And you were saying like
Yeah.
both of those PS1 and N64 came out when 3D games came out, and they were adapting to another dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like, oh shit, like we've got to get these like graphics and things
yeah.
to work.
Yeah. So it's like it feels like janky, but then it's just kind of like
Of its time.
yeah. And I guess I can't really compare it much to like my memories. I guess you're just more. You didn't really notice those as being like problems really at the time because it's kind of all there was.
That was, you don't have anything to compare it to, you had no
Available, yeah.
experiences, yeah.
Wasn't really expected for it to like run super well. Other than that, some of the face animations or the face
Quite
like,
scary.
images quite terrifying. They actually like come through, like when they pop in, and like, they're right in front of the camera. And it's just like, oh fuck! It's like this guy's face is just like melted and then
Those
like
jaunty face.
Oh,
like
yeah.
real polygonal like face.
Yeah.
But
then yeah, it's not. It's good for what it can. Like, it gives you as much information as you can. Like, I feel like these episodes, levels are actually quite good at telling you where to go and stuff. Because kind of all listed there.
yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit like, what item do I rub on this thing to make it work? Or
Yeah.
what item do I throw on this
Yeah,
thing to
yeah.
make it work?
It's like, which button do I press?
Yeah, for me it's just the controllers made it hard for me to like get into it. Because I just knew like, I can't get my dude to do what I want him to do.
Yeah. Like how you would normally do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just shooting at people as they're like running away. It's like, go in auto aim. You can do it. You can do it. Hit him.
Spray.
Hit him. You spray second the entire clip. You're like, nope, did not hit that person.
Love it.
It's so fun though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think playing on easy, it can be quite fun just to sort of fuck around.
I think I find it frustrating if I was trying to actually like get through this campaign
Oh,
though.
Christ.
If I was trying to like actually like complete this game, I think I just find it very frustrating.
Yeah, I'm the same. To be honest, I definitely. There's certain levels I really like, and they're quite straightforward. Like once you know what you're doing, they're quite straightforward. Some of them, statue. It's not. It's just
You
too
hate
maze
that
like.
level.
It's just too maze like. It's just like it's not fun.
So a lot of times when we go back to games of this era, it's like, man, I wish there was like a waypointer,
Or a map.
like just like
I
an
suppose
arrow,
because- I
it's like
suppose
an arrow above your head, just pointing you where you need to go. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, that'd be so much easier.
I suppose because I know I can nail all the levels, I just find it really fun. So like, I know exactly what I need to do. I still find some of them challenging though, like on the harder settings, like Control, the tough level.
What's the thing of like challenge compared to like the frustration?
Yeah.
It's like challenge is like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Whereas like sometimes it's just like, oh god, it's just
No.
too much work. Like it's just this game's like making it so hard for me.
Aztec is a tough level, but it's
Yeah.
really well designed though. It's a really
Yeah.
cool level, and you get the lasers in that level, which is cool.
Yeah.
Everyone has bright yellow suits in that level.
Nice.
Weird.
But it's a bonus one, isn't it? So it's a bit of a different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bright level kind of, bright yellow kind of space suit type
Yeah.
things.
It's like, yeah, murder all
cool.
of them.
And
Alright.
it's got Jaws in it, and he's like 7 foot tall, and he's got 2 massive machine guns.
You can bug out his AI though, can't you? And get him to walk around the stairs and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What do you like?
What
About
don't
this
I like
game?
about it? To be honest, like there's a weird thing with the graphics. Like something I picked up on. This game looks better when you are constantly moving than when you are stood still. Like when you're moving and you're shooting and like you're constantly running forwards and running around, you don't really take in. You know, everything looks fine. Like everything looks
That
perfectly fine.
helps when you're
Yeah,
like turning.
when you're stood still, like I was when I was doing not facility, it was at facility 2, whichever one it is, the complex. I can't remember the one where there was just tons and tons of people coming at me through that door.
Oh, Bunker 2.
Bunker 2, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was stood still and I was looking at the gun model and I was like, my god, this is real pixelated and like there's a weird
like the
AK-47 essentially.
AK-47.
And there's
it's like a reverse like sneaker cube.
yeah. And there's like a
the
weird
KF7 Soviet.
yeah, that one. And there's like a weird thing where like there's a certain distance you get away from the enemy character models. They just suddenly go really blurry. Like obviously you don't notice this most of the time.
Yeah,
You're just
true,
running in a
like,
room. They sort of go like fairly alright, and then suddenly there's like a certain distance, it goes bloop like a blob, and you're like, oh, that's really weird.
Yeah.
But I mean that's something
It's
minor.
also the thing where like it's way more noticeable in the indoor levels. Because like, if you're not in a small room and you're seeing them like further down the corridor, they just like really blur out. Whereas like the outside ones, you got like the snow or you got like nighttime and stuff to try and like soften the edges.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the distant character models.
Yeah, it makes it easier to just be like, okay, there's a dude over there. A bit of a different one is hitboxes. The hitbox on this game is slightly odd. Like your character model sometimes gets not stuck, but sometimes you think you're gonna fall through like a grate or like go through a door, and you sort of it's not like you get clip on it, but you don't as smoothly go through it as you'd think. You don't just slide into it, and sometimes that can be annoying if you're trying to like. You know that there's an exit there, but you're stuck on just a tiny bit of the wall because you're not quite like going through it. Like the doorway, like if I'm strafing to the right and I know the doorway's there, instead of sort of just bumping me in, you just stick on the wall because it's just like no, the doorway's more
It's not soft edges.
yeah, it's just a hard edge and stuff, and it's
literally 90 degrees. If you're one pixel over, you're not gonna.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a bit body blocked by the enemy AI if you're fighting a lot of them and they're sort of stood there. But I mean, yeah, the hitboxes aren't particularly bad, but they can be a little bit wonky. Or maybe it's just because I'm not used to them. Like I'm used to more modern games of sliding. Yeah,
Hitboxes.
you definitely feel quite big. You feel like the whole
feels
screen.
like if the sprite is like a circle, you have a cube around it as a hitbox.
Yeah.
It's like it kind of like in
it's
a
like,
way of like
if when you see a doorway, it's like you have to slide in it like you're a cube. You have to fit perfectly into it to go through it.
I guess I haven't really noticed that much.
you're way more like smoother when you're like traveling in this game.
Maybe
like, you're way more like
sliding
fluid.
doors, the ones that slide really slowly, you kind of notice it.
If you
and like that time when the door opened inwards towards me.
oh, you didn't know what
I
it
was
was.
just like stuck. I was like, why? Well, I don't understand. It took a
Yeah.
step back and I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
opening now.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's really confusing.
If you wanted to test it, go on multiplayer and like try and strafe left and right through like a corridor or something, but like don't actually turn and try and line yourself up, because you'll find that sometimes you'll think you're there and you'll sort of just get stuck a little bit. So
Yeah.
It's a similar thing with like the story when you try to like hide behind the boxes.
yeah,
Not trying to hide, but like trying to like pass through them. It's kind of decide like, can I get between these two boxes,
Yeah.
or can I not? Because sometimes it's really hard to judge. Because like you'll like move towards it like on like the tangent of it, and you realise that like if you just move slightly up and then rotate the camera, you're like, oh, there's actually a massive amount of space here.
yeah, it's very
Like,
odd sometimes.
Unless you're not viewing it at the right angle, it just looks like they're like on top of each other.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
It's
bit weird.
slightly odd. I mean, it doesn't
It's like
really.
you don't have a proper field depth in this game. I think is what the problem is.
Yeah, it
Even
doesn't.
though it is 3D, it's like you don't get the proper draw distance. Like the depth of everything isn't quite lined to like
Yeah,
a horizon, so it never really like tapers. So it's kind of hard to like.
you just have to trial and error it.
Yeah, you don't really have depth perception as a character. Everything's just like flat.
Oh right, yeah, the way it's being drawn in and stuff. Yeah, I mean it's not like a game breaker, but it is kind of I notice it more in multiplayer, like where I think I know where a doorway is and then I'm stuck somewhere. I think, oh, that's weird. But my only other main gripe is the same with you, is the controls. Like, don't get me wrong, I can play this game with the controls perfectly fine. But something they implemented in Perfect Dark, which is the game after this, was they let you actually customize the controls. So the way I set it up is I have the C buttons as all my movement, and then I just aim with the analog stick.
That's really weird.
And
so much easier.
yeah, and like
That sounds so much easier.
so when I play
I
this,
could never do that.
Mark's face is just
Yeah.
like blasphemy.
It's
I'm just totally confused.
because now it becomes more like having two analog sticks. Because my right analog stick is normally, when I play with an Xbox 360 controller, it's normally my camera, but the right analog stick is kind of where the analog stick is on an N64 controller, because it's slap bang in
Yeah.
the middle.
get
So
what
I
you
kind
mean.
of do it.
Yeah.
I mean, when we've played Perfect Dark, multiplayer sessions that we've had have been way closer. You know, like they've been way closer because I feel I've got more control over my character, and I feel like when we played, I just get into it. Whereas when we played GoldenEye, I mean, you know the levels anyway, but I don't know. It's not that I struggle with the controls. They're not my preferred setup, and I'd rather have the C buttons do all of my movement and aim with the thing, because it's easier to aim, I think, with a stick than it is with buttons, because it's obviously analog. So the harder you push or don't push is how much it's going to move. Whereas a button is either on or off. So I'd rather have that. I know you can hit the R button to actually bring up like the manual aim and stuff, but you don't really want to be stood still playing a game like this. No. In a multiplayer game, you ideally want to just be constantly moving and shooting. So I'd rather have that up. So for me, the controls are passable. They're totally fine. But I mean, we've got to better control systems. There's a reason why dual analogs are stuck so well. Or even if you're playing like a VR game and you've got like hand controllers or something, it's better to have two things controlling, analog sticks controlling your movement and camera, and one specifically to do movement and one specifically to do camera, over using a mixture of buttons and a stick. I know it's obviously, again, it's very much of its time. They used what they could, but I think they fixed it with Perfect Dark and let you customize it, which is the best thing they could have possibly done.
I think maybe when you're doing C up and C down, like it goes quite slow.
Yeah.
Like it takes a while to go down and up. But I think they had to do that because the C buttons move you and the camera. Like if they did it really quickly, you'd just be like
at the floor, up the ceiling,
all over the place all the time.
It makes it way
harder. You can
harder.
probably adjust the sensitivity. I've not looked, but you probably can adjust it. I mean, it's not a game breaker for me, but I just think when there are other games out there now, I mean, like I mentioned before, like things like Time Splitters. Time Splitters to me is a game where the controls are like absolutely perfect. I would rather use that controller setup. I mean, I've played GoldenEye with a 360 controller, and I set it up how I would play it. And as a dual stick controls, if they remade this game with dual stick controllers, I cannot tell you how much easier it is to play. Yeah. It's so easy, and it's just like, it's incredible. You're like, oh wow, this completely changes it. Like if you played this with a Xbox controller, you would have had such an easier time with it.
Yeah,
for sure. So
keyboard and mouse.
Or keyboard and mouse. Let's throw over to you, Mr. Mark. If you got any dislikes to this game, I know you love it, but
I mean, the only things I can think of are like the technological restrictions. Really,
sure.
There's nothing about the design or the music or the main elements of the game that I don't like, because I think all the levels are great. I think the campaign's really good. I really played the multiplayer to death as a kid, and has a big place in my heart. So the only things I can think of are like the kind of things that we've talked about a little bit already, like the frame rate issues.
Yeah.
Like how slow it can be.
How much it lags
at
once.
I mean, there's not really much they could have done about that 20 odd years ago. But yeah, it does lag, especially when there are explosions, like if someone chucks a grenade or a rocket launcher or something.
Yeah.
Does lag a lot. I guess one of the things that annoys me about some of the one-player levels, like some of the campaign levels, is when some of the enemies just spawn in, like on a level where there's tons of them, and run into one room.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes there's definitely more enemies come after you than there are in the level.
Yeah.
Like Archives, you're playing that one where you have to get out of the room at the start.
Oh yeah.
There are fucking like tons of enemies coming up. They definitely didn't just place that many enemies in the level.
It's a weird trigger that. Isn't it?
Like and spawn as well.
I know it's meant to add to the drama of the game, but it's kind of like,
even on easy though, that's a lot of enemies to chuck at someone.
It's kind of fun, but it's also kind of like, whoa.
It's also the thing that it's like, don't spawn someone who's literally behind me facing you.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you walk in your room and you see like people you see bullets going past you, you're like, fuck's sake, you turn around and literally an enemy spawns there in the corridor. It's like, come on, back, like you couldn't have come from anywhere else. Like I literally just walked past there.
And one of the reasons why Perfect Dark is so much more fluid than this game, there are several reasons, but one of them is that when you're playing, you notice it mainly in multiplayer, when you're using machine gun, like not all the bullets like drain health from the other person, so you'll get the noise that it makes, and you get the thing come up on the screen. Like there's a delay before you take any more health again. And if you're like just firing a machine gun into somebody, like 70-80% of those bullets are worthless, because they only they go and then there'll be like a second or two, and then before they take health again. But all the while you're unloading all these bullets that are doing nothing. kind of thing. Whereas in like Perfect Dark or any other game ever, like every bullet takes health. And it's kind of like, again, I don't know whether is that a technical.
I've never really looked at it.
Thing.
I've never looked at it enough to be able to really say.
It's a bit irritating when you're like playing multiplayer and you're like gunning the shit out of someone and you're like, oh, I'm not doing as much as I could do.
Like, could be like a thing of like strategy. Maybe it's
might
for
just
like
be
people that are like.
I guess it does
People
help
who
you
can
stress.
learn it. It means you just like burst fire rather than like
Yeah, maybe it is meant for
continuous
strategy
fire.
reasons.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the reason they do it is because of invulnerability frames. Because if you went up to someone with one of the guns in that game, a la machine gun, and unloaded an entire clip, you would die very fast. So
that's
I think
what happens in Perfect Dark, right? You know, you die really quickly
yeah,
in that
yeah.
game. Like,
So I think they've tried to balance it by going, okay, you've got a few. It's not
Yeah.
even that many invincibility frames because you still go quite quickly, but there are like it's between that sound effect. You've got like
it might
a few.
actually be a positive to the game because it does actually make it a bit more of a kind of war rather than just the, like killing someone in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's also kind
It's a
of.
bit more of a back and forth with it, I suppose.
Yeah, it's kind of also for the person doing shots.
Yeah. You still move,
because like from that person's point of view, you get knocked back
and you can't see.
and you lose the health and you can't see from like the sound effect. It's kind of just like it's like so both friends actually like marry up and like they're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
That
absolutely.
also means that like the person being shot with just like so much knockback. So the knockback's already annoying. Like I know somebody play like most there try to get through a doorway and it's like I literally can't escape because I'm like in this corner with no cover.
Yeah.
And as soon as like if I try and move anywhere, I just get knocked backwards.
Yeah.
So I
I know
literally,
what you're on about,
I literally can't escape this. It's like you don't get like invincibility frames where you can like run around the corner quickly, because I just keep getting shot. It's like there's something you can do about this.
Oh, we didn't play Complex. That's the best multiplayer level.
Is that the one where you can go in the grate and stuff?
Yeah,
that is a good level.
There's some really good vantage points.
Yeah, I definitely remember playing that.
Yeah,
It's built on the ledge, yeah.
It's really cool.
Go on the mine.
Also, not being able to jump off the sides.
Yeah, that's
When you see
They
like an
changed
open
that on
platform.
Perfect Dark, so you can play Temple on Perfect Dark and you can jump
off
down
the
the
side.
hole.
Yeah, yeah.
They're so annoying. Not even jump, just like walk off.
Yeah, yeah,
When you
yeah.
see like, oh, I'm on the second floor. Oh, there's like a overhang. Oh, there's no railing. Like you think, oh, that means I can jump down. And it's so annoying when you see someone running below you.
No.
You can't just jump down. You have to like go to a staircase and then go
You
down.
walked up that thing on the statue level and you can
Oh yeah.
come off the end of it.
Yeah.
And that guy shot that grenade at you.
It's like, well, I
You had nowhere to go.
I literally can't go anywhere. I thought I could just
Amazing.
run off the side.
Yeah. Oh dear. Is there anything else you don't like about this game?
Not really. I think like I like everything about it.
Yeah,
really.
yeah, sure.
I still like playing the one player again.
Mm.
I don't really like enjoy the multiplayer as much as I used to when I was a kid. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'd much rather play Perfect Dark
Yeah.
multiplayer, like because the guns in that are amazing and the levels are better, probably a bit
Yeah.
more developed and stuff. But
Like the kind of like ultimate fire stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Perfect Dark.
quite frankly, that game's already decent. It's got end bombs. You don't need any other weapon.
you love end bombs.
Anyway, let's move on from that then. Let's start with Mr. Mark over there. Let's go around this way and do you think this game
It
still...
works well for the sound.
Yeah, this way.
Let's go around this.
You can't see this, but I am waving my hands around. Mr. Mark, do you think this game still holds up?
Not really, but that doesn't mean I don't like it.
No,
I
but-
just mean that it doesn't compete with modern standards.
Sure. Sure.
But like I was saying earlier, I do think that a lot of first-person shooters don't have enough variety of levels. Like, maybe I just need to play more first-person shooters. But
Yeah, sure.
I mean, in terms of like your Call of Duties and your Battlefield and like the kind of games that are just kind of in one setting,
Yeah.
I do think this is like kind of cool that it is so diverse for its time, like in terms of all the different types of levels. I
Yeah.
think that is really cool. Doesn't really hold up in terms of like the frame rate issues and
Sure.
I don't know, like I do still have a lot of fun playing this game.
Yeah.
Like I still love running and gunning while listening to some awesome music. I do think it holds up surprisingly well for me. Like a lot of games of that era probably don't. Like it holds up better than Turok 2, which is a game I played a lot back
Yeah.
then, and some other first-person shooters. but the multiplayer, I reckon the one player holds up a lot better than the multiplayer.
Sure.
Like, I think the Perfect Dark multiplayer holds up really well, whereas this not so well. Like, if you're gonna play a game, an old school multiplayer game like split screen, play like Time Splitters 2 or Perfect Dark or something. Yeah. Ideally Perfect Dark, because I love that game. It's got slightly better multiplayer levels and environments and stuff, but yeah, I think the one player holds up a lot better. I still think doing the missions is fun. Some of the objectives are really fun, the environments are really cool, just shooting people was cool.
Just in general.
I still enjoy it. I don't think that many people are going to agree with me.
Yeah.
Only the people that have a lot of nostalgia for this game, really. It doesn't compete with like modern standards in terms of like frame rate and graphics and everything, obviously.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a lot of fun. I still go back to this game every now and then. I still love it.
Yeah.
But there are other games from that era that I just probably wouldn't go back to, but this is one I always will.
Yeah, sure, that's fair enough. Like, if you get that enjoyment out of it, then why not?
But obviously, I'm blinded by nostalgia, and you know, if I hadn't played this game back in the day, I probably would not feel this way.
Shitting all over it.
Yeah.
And speaking of shitting all over it, Mr. Fruity.
He's already done a turn on the floor.
Yeah.
Ready to rub his shit all over the cartridge.
Yeah. Mark's childhood.
No, it's my cartridge. Do it on his one.
Shitting all over my childhood.
I think you guys think I'm like absolutely despise this game. It's like I don't like hate it.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It's just very, very. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me. I think that's the best way of describing it. It's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, I enjoyed like watching like you and Mark actually like play like the story and stuff. Like, it's interesting to like watch you guys do stuff. But like for me, actually playing it, it's just, it's alright.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's alright. Like, I can't really get into the multiplayer because I feel like there's too much out of my control.
Sure, I can totally understand that.
It's like, I just find like, oh yeah, I killed someone. Oh yeah, they killed me. It's like, it's not because one person's like better. It's not because like we're like on an equal footing. Because like I just know that like I lack any ability to like do things. And every now and then the game will just like do stuff to like stop you from being able to do stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's just
also if
try to start playing this too late.
It's 1v1 and like whoever wins the battle can then just go and find the body armor and then just keep.
1v1 is hard because like one person just ends up like Goliathing it.
Yeah.
Which is like the best gun on the map, and then like
three or four players a lot better.
Camping the body armor. There's not really much you can do.
You can't turn it off in this, can you? Because we turned it off in Perfect Dark.
We didn't have turbo. We didn't have turbo mode either. If we had that on, a cheat where you run a lot faster, you can then easily get back to the body armor so much quicker, and then easily get back to where they've spawned and kill them before they've even picked up a gun.
And just keep
doing that over and over again. And
like
it's just
spawning without a gun was so odd.
It's
so annoying if you spawn into like a room with one entrance with like no guns except for like ammo in there,
and the other person's
just literally at the door.
Hello.
Like, you're like, well,
yeah,
this was pointless. So I think like, as like a final verdict, like I quite enjoyed watching it. I can kind of imagine people. I think people probably should watch like I don't know, like Let's Plays or watch like archived material of this. I think it's good to see like where gaming came from.
Yeah,
but
not for you.
No, I think there's better ways to like play split screen stuff. I think even had more fun than Turok 3 was it we're playing?
The GameCube one.
Evolution.
Turok Evolution.
Yeah. Like playing.
Because you got a gun that just locked on and killed us.
Like playing that, like
you'd see a bit easier.
Playing like Perfect Dark and stuff like that. Like it's just
Time Splitters.
Time Splitters is just like it's so much more like easy to like
control.
Yeah.
By you, Levi?
It's a weird one for me because I completely respect this game and what it's done for the split screen community for consoles and also console shooters and things. We wouldn't have Time Splitters without this game. We wouldn't have Halo without this game. Halo might still have existed, but the multiplayer side of it, even Call of Duty and stuff like that. The fact that these games are on console and they do really well, we wouldn't have it. But like
they kind of like helped to set up like the zeitgeist for like this on consoles, because it wasn't really done before like consoles, and like a lot of this, the whole idea of like going to your friend's house to like play like a split screen game, it's just like this is kind of like the starting point for that.
And that's the thing. If you look at, you know, throughout history, like split screen, any kind of split screen game, you know, you've got like this first person shooter being the one that everyone comes back to, and they go, that is the reason why we're into first person shooters and playing that.
Yeah, so if it doesn't envision that, if it's not the originator for these like mechanics and like gameplay ideas, it's popularized them because of how popular this game was.
Yeah, exactly.
It became like a benchmark that like everyone else built from.
Yeah, and you have those games where it's like if you've got a shooter and you look at the shooters that came after that with split screens, like, does it have this? Does it have this? Does it have this? And it's because GoldenEye was like so popular and things like that. So it's a tough one, this. But I mean, personally, I don't think the game particularly holds up very well. Like, I think, you know, it's one of these games that I'll dig out from time to time because I think it's fun to just even show people, be like, look at where this game, what all these other games come from. But like, in terms of playing it, it's like I don't enjoy the multiplayer anymore. Like, because of things like Perfect Dark that have better, everything's just better in that game. Time Splitters 2 and 3, which are probably the best split screen shooters in my opinion. You know, and any other recent FPSs that I've played, I had a lot more fun with because of the controls. The, you know, most of those games you'd think run at like better frame rate. They're fairly stable now, and you know, it sucks to say that, but this game is, you know, it'll always hold a special place in the gaming world for what it did. But at the end of the day, it's just, I just don't.
At
have
least
that.
it was there. Like it created it needs to have existed, but it's luckily other games have improved on it.
Yeah, how it should be. I mean, I would definitely, if someone had never played it before, I would dig out and be like, let's play this. But I mean, you look at the multiplayer, like, it was alright when I was playing against Fruity because neither of us knew the maps. We also had the radar on, which I never do, but you know the maps. So as soon as I spawned, like, we did one of my least favourite levels, we had it on random, and I was just like, I'm fucked. Because I knew where the body armour was as soon as I found it, but then it was like, as soon as I spawn into a room, and I don't know where that room is exactly, you know where I am, and if I got anything, and you've already gone and picked the body armour up. So I'm like, I need to, like, somehow get past you, get to the body armour, and hopefully on that way pick up anything other than the club. You know, and that isn't fun. Like,
it's different when you play 3 or 4 player, because then there's too much. You can't, like, dominate. Not one person can dominate so much, and it's like, it's a lot more fun.
I mean, it's probably the same if you played me at Time Splitters Future Perfect. Like, I know most of those maps off by heart. Like, I could probably run in, murder you, and go to the other stuff, come back. But like, when we've played Perfect Dark, or we've played, you know, more people in any shooter, it's more fun because you're not having to constantly be like, right, I need to find this person, kill him, and all that. Or this person knows the map. You know, if everyone's shooting everybody, then it's a lot. You know. But I think overall, I'm very unlikely to play this game again for a while. Even though I don't particularly like the single player. Like, I like the ideas in it. I think it's set up a good thing, but I'm not that fussed by the levels. I'm not that fussed by the multiplayer anymore. And it's like, I can respect the game, but I don't need to play it anymore. And it can go neatly away in my box of games and just be like, yeah, that's a good game for its time. And every game that I've enjoyed, like FPS since then, that split screen has probably taken huge influences from this, and I've improved on it.
Gone leaps and bounds ahead.
Yeah, or just the technology is just better now. So like,
I would probably say that, like, even though I put a lot more time into GoldenEye, Perfect Dark is a better game.
Yeah,
like,
I think they had more time to put it in the oven and make this game.
Yeah, they really improved it. There was only like, well, there was 3 years difference, but they really improved it. They really ramped up the one-player mode. The multiplayer was just like, you had all the AI, like the bots and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just way more content.
Yeah, just so much more content. Every weapon had a second function, which was awesome. I think it's just like, there's only a few years difference, but it's just such a difference.
Yeah,
obviously they needed that GoldenEye to be there as the blueprint to work from.
Yeah, exactly.
But the like you said, like, playing Time Splitters 2 and Perfect Dark is so much more accessible, even though they're not modern games now, but slightly.
Yeah, they're not quite as old. But
you guys are like, oh yeah, Dave's gonna shit on all these things. I bet have the same opinion as you two. What does that say about you two, eh?
Yeah, but I already
Laying
knew.
down the little fanboy inside you.
I'm not a fanboy about this game because I never really grew. I've you know.
I think it was a bug of that one.
Yeah, I know. Well, I believe we've said everything we need to say on this game, and we've all kind of feel the same way about it. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just better games now. But
It's like a little time capsule.
Yeah.
You got to experience it.
you can't. You wouldn't have played. You wouldn't have seen someone with an N64 who didn't have this game. Basically,
No,
like
no.
this,
Just
and
not
Ocarina
really
of Time. Yeah,
And
like,
Super Mario 64
everyone-
and
yeah.
Mario Kart. Like,
yeah.
it
And
was
probably
like
Smash as well. But like
Yeah.
this more so because I
kind
think.
of half a dozen like absolutely essential N64 games.
Yeah.
This was one of them.
Yeah, exactly. You that was it. You wouldn't have an N64 without this. Simple as that. I mean, it was that. It's how synonymous it is with this system. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I think that is it from us today, guys. Thank you very much for listening, as always. This is always a good blast. I always enjoy having these conversations, and Dave didn't shit on it as much as I thought he would. So I was wrong.
Yeah.
Too judgmental, that's the problem.
You expect me to be too judgmental, I don't know.
If you like this video, as always, hit like, subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments below. But until next time, it is goodbye from me, and it is goodbye from these guys. Peace.